Hi guys, second day of the week. We were working on this law of sines yesterday. Okay, as you saw, if you took the time to watch the video and work through the problem, it's pretty easy to do. Okay, and we were working on, okay, I think we did angle, side angle yesterday. Okay, and today we have to do angle, angle, side. Okay, and we also have to get side angle out of the way. Okay, all right, so jump in on those. Okay, and let's see, we've got two angles and a non-included side. Okay, so that shouldn't be that big of a deal. Okay, so the very first thing I would do is use the triangle sum formula to find the measure of the missing angle. Okay, so if we go 180 minus 35 minus 101, okay, and just go to your calculator, use that, or do it in your head, doesn't make any difference. 35 minus 101, and we are getting 44 pesos. Okay, so this is 44 pesos. Okay, and then I can set up my three ratios. So I say the sine of angle A, which is 35 degrees, over the length of the side that's opposite that, which would be BC, equals the sine of angle B, which is 44 pesos, over the length of the side opposite angle B, which would be AC, and that equals the sine of angle C, which is 101 degrees, over the length of the side opposite that, which is AB, and we know AB is 29. Okay, so again, here is my cornerstone ratio, because I know both the numerator and denominator, so I can use this guy to solve for BC and AC. So why don't we do BC first? Okay, so let's see. I've got the sine of 101 pesos over 29, and that equals right here the sine of 35 pesos over BC. Take your cross products, so you get BC times the sine of 101 equals 29 times the sine of 35 pesos. And then we divide both sides by the sine of 101. So BC is 29 times the sine of 35 divided by the sine of 101. And we're going to punch that into our calculator, so we put our parentheses in there just like I showed you yesterday. Okay, we're going to have a set of parentheses around the 35 and a set of parentheses around the 101, and then we just punch that in. So let's see, I got parenthesis 29 times the sine of 35, two parentheses, divided by parenthesis sine of 101, two parentheses, and hit enter. And I am getting, when I round off the nearest hundredth, I'm getting 16.95. Okay, so my BC right here is 16.95 units. Okay, all right, so let's go and let's find AC. So I take my cornerstone ratio, sine of 101 pesos divided by 29 equals the sine of 44 pesos divided by AC. And I take my cross products. AC times the sine of 101 equals 29 times the sine of 44, and I divide both sides by the sine of 101. So AC is 29 times the sine of 44 pesos, all divided by the sine of 101. And then put your parentheses in here so we can punch that into our calculator just like it would show up on your calculator. And let's see, I got parenthesis 29 times the sine of 44, double parenthesis, divided by parenthesis sine 101, double parenthesis. And we round that off off to the nearest hundredth, and I'm getting 20.52 units. So this guy right here is 20.52 units. Okay, so let's see, that takes care of, we had 3 different problems where we dealt with angle, side, angle, and then today the problem we did was angle, angle, side. The most important thing is that we have 2 angles and 1 side, okay, and we can use the law of sines there. Okay, now we want to take a look at, well, what are we going to do here? Well, we have 2 sides and a non-included angle, okay, so something like this. Okay, I've got 2 sides and a non-included angle. Okay, so let's see, what are we going to do here? Okay, well, I can't really use the triangle sum theorem, okay, to find the measure of angle x or the measure of angle z. So how about we set up our ratios and we see what happens here. Okay, so I'm going to go the sine of angle x over the length of the side opposite, yz, equals the sine of angle y. Well, I know y is 47 degrees, so why don't I put 47 there rather than writing y? Okay, so sine of 47 over the length of the side opposite, which is xz, and we know xz is 7.6, equals the sine of angle z, right here, over the length of the side opposite, which is xy, and we know that's 10.2. Okay, so we take a look at that. And obviously, again, here's my cornerstone ratio because I know the numerator and the denominator. Now, if I try to go here, the problem I run into is I have 2 unknowns. I have the measure of angle x, which I don't know, and I have the length of yz, which I don't know. So I would have this equal to that, and I can't solve because I have 2 unknowns. But over here, we know the denominator. Okay, so I only have 1 unknown, which is the measure of angle z. Okay, so if I set this guy equal to that guy, I can solve for the measure of angle z. So let's go here. Okay, so I take the sine of 47 pesos over 7.6 equals the sine of angle z over 10.2. And notice we're looking for an angle measure, so we're going to have to use inverse trigonometry to find that. So let's take the 2 cross products. Okay, so I get 7.6 times the sine of angle z equals 10.2 times the sine of 47, and then I divide both sides by 7.6, so I get the sine of angle z equals 10.2 times the sine of 47 pesos, all divided by 7.6. Okay, so if the sine of angle z equals this, then the measure of angle z would be sine inverse of that guy. Okay, so the measure of angle z is sine inverse of this entire thing. Okay, now we want to punch this whole thing into our calculator. Okay, so we're going to have to separate the numerator from the denominator. Okay, so I got my 10.2 times the sine of 47, and I need that second parenthesis there to separate the entire numerator from the denominator, all divided by 7.6, and then we can punch that in. Now remember, sine inverse is right above sine. It's second function, so it's above sine. Okay, so let's see if we get that punched in right. Now I'm going to put this right here. So let's go second sine inverse. Okay, so that parenthesis gives me this bracket. So I need a parenthesis, and I need 10.2 times the sine, 47 degrees, and I need parenthesis, and then divided by, okay, parenthesis, 7.6, parenthesis, and then a last parenthesis to deal with this guy. And then we hit enter. And we're getting that, and remember, that's a measure of angle z, that's in degrees, so that would be 78.5 78.98 pesos. Okay, so that's the measure of angle Z. Okay, 78.98 pesos. All right, so now when we come up here, when I'm dealing with this ratio where I have two unknowns, I have a way to find that unknown right here, because I can use the triangle sum theorem here. Okay, so right here, I can go 180 minus the 47 minus 78.98. And I can get a good approximation for that angle measure. So we go to our calculator, 180 minus 47 minus 78.98, and I am getting 54.02. All right, now granted, that's an approximation, but it's a pretty good approximation. Okay, so now we can take our cornerstone, sine of 47 pesos over 7.6, and set it equal here, and we know what the measure of angle X is. The angle X is 54.02. So we get the sine of angle X, which is 54.02 pesos, all divided by YZ, okay? And that gives us a way for solving for YZ. Okay, so we take our cross product, so let's see. YZ times the sine of 47 equals 7.6 times the sine of 54.02. Okay, and then we divide both sides by the sine of 47. So YZ equals 7.6 times the sine of 54.02, all divided by the sine of 47. Put our parentheses in there. Okay, so we can punch it all into the calculator. Okay, so let's see. I've got parenthesis 7.6 times the sine of 54.02, double parenthesis, divided by parenthesis sine of 47, double parenthesis. And remember, this is a side length. I'm getting 8.41, okay, for YZ. Okay, so 8.41 for right here. And we're done. Okay, so this one's a little bit different because we're only given one angle measure, okay, and so we have two unknown angle measures. Okay, so to find that first unknown angle measure, okay, when we're dealing with trigonometry and finding an unknown angle measure, that's inverse trig, so that's why I had to use this sine inverse to come up with that. And then once I have that guy, I can use the triangle sum theorem to find the measure of my third angle. And then this is just like what we've been doing. Okay, that'll wrap it up for today, and I'll be posting another video tomorrow. Miss you guys.